Right. Yeah. You suspend a guy for dominance. Boy, speaking of Conor McGregor, man, what's your take on that? That's right around your weight class. Is this the guy the real deal?
I think he is, man. After that Dennis Siver fight, after the Dustin Poirier fight, you have to go, holy shit, this guy's for real. But in the back of your mind, anybody could get caught. Can you do it, again to a couple more elite guys? Maybe he got lucky with Dustin. You don't know. It appears that he hits very, very fucking hard. That's what it looks like. And then after this Dennis Siver fight, no doubt in my mind, it's going to be very hard to go the distance with Conor McGregor at featherweight. It's clear. He hits super hard. He's super dynamic. Him and John Jones are the strikers of the future. There's a lot of guys out there that they're still out there that they just throw hands and they think just their boxing is going to is going to be enough. I think boxing is not enough anymore. I'm not an MMA fighter. This is just me guessing. This is just me totally guessing. Armchair fighter. I think the future is throwing everything, all those kung fu and karate and spinning taekwondo kicks. If you have good takedown defense and you have good jiu-jitsu, why not throw all that shit? We thought it was all a joke back in the day because the only guys that knew how to throw spinning kicks sucked on the ground. So if you got them in the cage, they wouldn't even throw it because they were so worried about throwing it because they were so worried about it on the ground. But Conor McGregor and John Jones, they're throwing everything but the kitchen sink. They're throwing spinning elbows, spinning. So as an MMA fighter, I believe every MMA fighter should be practicing all those kicks. Everything that Conor McGregor's doing, it seems unorthodox now. But what he's showing you is what's possible and what really works in MMA when you got all three aspects of the game down, the jiu-jitsu, the wrestling, and the striking. The better your wrestling is, the crazier you can get with your strikes. And, man, the crazier you are, the more unpredictable you are, the more cautious your opponent is. I know Conor rubs people the wrong way with his trash talk, but I love that shit. And I said it many times, I love your trash talking. It's a different style. Your trash talking is funnier than Conor McGregor. You're a lot funnier than him, and your trash talking is more intricate, more sophisticated. But Conor is calling motherfuckers out and calling rounds and actually doing it. That's another kind of trash talking. That's on another level right there, what he's doing. He's so goddamn confident, and now I see where the confidence comes from. He must be in practice. Nobody can take his shit. Nobody wants to spar with him. He's probably fucking. That's why he's so confident. He just knows he has iron anvils in his fists. It's clear now.
Yeah, man. And, when you talk about Conor, you talk about John Jones. The other thing that hasn't been talked about, I think you'll agree with me, though, it's their accuracy, man. That Conor McGregor didn't miss. He threw a couple of kicks that looked like they were for show, that went over Seaver's head. He kind of did them slow. It looked like he was having some fun. Aside from those air balls, I don't think he moved his fist, his knee, his elbow, or his leg in a forward direction and didn't touch something.
Just like you said, some of them spinning kicks, probably just little setups. You know what I mean? Just shove it to him, get him used to that speed, and then boom! So he looked absolutely ridiculous. I mean, Dennis Siver is you would consider him one of the best strikers in the featherweight or the lightweight division, both those divisions. You would consider him, if it was just pure striking, he would be in the top 10, maybe top 5 of both. That guy can really throw heat. And Conor McGregor out turning sidekick Dennis Siver. Imagine that shit.
Yeah, no, it was incredible. And what I thought was the most telling thing, like if you're in that division and you're studying Conor, and you are, if you're in that division, not only because he's very good, but he's also the dollar signs of that division. And we haven't had anybody in that division that could draw. All the way back to the Jens Pulver days, there was nobody that was a big draw that could headline a card and sell it out until Conor's come along. So and that comes to your point about, talking his game and doing the trash talk and building up some excitement. But if you're studying that division, I thought the most telling thing of the Siver fight was that Siver took him down twice and didn't hold him there for more than a second, probably closer to half a second. I thought that was Conor's greatest thing that he did in that fight, and that's going to scare some people. And as soon as that got done, Frankie Edgar, who for me is the champion of that division. I thought Frankie Edgar beat Jose Aldo. I was very surprised there wasn't more controversy around that decision. That was my own take on it. But I watched it in a room full of people, and we unanimously all had Frankie. But the point is, that was Frankie's takeaway. Frankie wasn't talking about the weird striking or even the conditioning or the pace or Conor's ability to cut off the ring, and he did all of those things. Frankie's takeaway was we saw something new out of Conor, and we saw how good his defense is for wrestling and how well he can scramble back up to his feet. And that's an intimidating thing, back to your initial point, that if you are good at staying off the bottom, if your wrestling is that good that you can get a little looser on your feet.
Yes, absolutely. And, Conor came by my school one night. He was in L.A., and my school's downtown L.A., and he was here doing some UFC press, and he needed a gym just to hit. He needed to hit a bag, so he found my gym, which it's the Tap Out gym in downtown L.A. That's where 10th Planet headquarters is located. And he came in and started hitting the bag in the middle of my class, and he didn't even know where he was at. He was just hitting the bag. And I looked over across the gym, and I walked over, and I'm like, what the fuck are you doing here? It's the first time I ever met him. And, we met, we shot the shit. And the one thing that Conor did that a lot of UFC fighters come through my gym, a lot. They come through, a lot of them are awesome people. Tony Ferguson, Ben Saunders, Kelvin Gastelum. I love those guys. Those guys are awesome. I got a lot of guys coming through here. Even guys that don't even represent 10th Planet. A lot of them, not the guys I mentioned, but other ones, they'll come to my class, but they won't jump in and just roll with anybody. Conor went to hit a bag, and he voluntarily just went into my class and said, give me your best guys. And he rolled with my best guys. And one thing I'll tell you is, one thing I got from him being there, rolling around, is he's really, really strong and a very, very good base. His balance, his base on the ground is black belt level. He has very, very good defense, very good base, hard to control, super athletic. I wouldn't be surprised if he was 1/4 black. Seriously, he's really, 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 really strong, athletic, fast. And I knew back then, and he was a purple belt back then. I don't even know if he's brown belt yet or anything, but I knew based on him coming down and watching him roll, man, that guy is and the things he says. And then I ran into him at the airport like a month. Are you there? Are you still there?
Absolutely, man. I got nowhere else to be.
Okay, then I ran into him about a month or two later at the airport, and in Vegas, out of connection in Vegas. He was coming down to L.A. to do more press, and I got to talk to him for a few hours, man. It was very refreshing to hear from him. The stuff he was saying that most people, he may have said this already in some UFC countdown, but I don't know, I may be repeating some shit, but he said he thinks most fighters are not training properly. They're just beating themselves up in training. He doesn't beat himself up in training. He focuses most of his training time on polishing his techniques and adding techniques, adding new moves, constantly growing, getting his balance and base better, learning new combinations, new strikes, new wrestling counters, new wrestling combinations, new jiu-jitsu, new moves. Like he stressed adding new techniques over battle ropes and sparring and just beating each other up in the gym.
Well, Eddie, that sounds a lot like George St. Pierre's philosophy. I mean, as you're explaining Conor's take on things, it almost sounds like he's read the St. Pierre book, and that book can't be wrong. Exactly,
man. And so when I hear him talking all that incredible stuff, all this trash talking, I feel like, damn, man, this guy, he really believes that, man. It's not some fake shit. He really believes it, man. And he didn't turn me off at all when we were sitting there at the airport talking. Like you would think, because I believed him. Like, this motherfucker is going out there in front of the world in a cage like all you motherfuckers, in a cage in front of the world on pay-per-view and going to war? What is scarier than that? Nothing scarier than getting in the fucking octagon in front of the world, where if you win, it's like you're the king of the world for a few minutes right there. But if you lose, man, you lost the game, you lost the sport, and you got your ass kicked at the same time. It's a double whammy. You lose in football, fuck, at least you didn't